How do you feel about collaborative projects? Do you have an experience where one went well, badly, or perhaps didn't work at all?
I'm not a huge fan of collaboration, or any more of working for other people, particularly. It stresses me out to a large degree, having to please other people, and I like being my own boss too much. This is part of why I suppose I find anarchism so appealing. But I do have good and bad stories. So I have done some work in the past for Wizards of the Coast. No, I don't expect to be invited back. Back in the kind of fag end of the third edition days, we worked on a book for Eberron based on D&D Online, which was set in Eberron, City of Stormreach. And so I came on board as a freelancer with several other freelancers, and as I recall, I was the only one who had actually played the game extensively to any degree. So I was the most knowledgeable person in the group that were going to be writing this book, and the whole thing was horribly disorganized. Like, we basically had to divvy up amongst ourselves the word count, who was going to write what, and how much. Therefore, we were kind of fighting with each other over word counts and segments and so on. And yeah, obviously, as the relatively new guy, despite having the most knowledge, I wasn't particularly in a position to bargain. And I didn't want to get into that kind of conflict either. So I ended up writing a lot less of that book than I probably should have. And the whole situation was horribly disorganized and kind of set all the freelancers up against each other in a way, fighting over the same scraps. So that was a terrible collaboration. When I worked on Cannibal Sector 1 for SLA Industries, a book I'm still very proud of despite everything, I was given to understand that I was the sole writer. I would write the whole thing, and then the IP owners, Dave Alsop in particular, would go through it and maybe cut out a few things, maybe add a couple of things, depending what they'd been thinking in the meanwhile. And that would be it. And as far as I was aware, the draft that I turned in was considered to be really good. Dave was really happy with it. But we brought on board some fans, because nothing was published for SLA Industries for a very long time. And what kept it going was a sort of a fan community of enthusiasts. And so the brilliant idea was struck upon to bring in some of those fanboys and to, unbeknownst to me, have them work on and edit the text. And so a bunch of the stuff that I'd done, which I thought was really cool, was cut. And this editor fanboy excuse me, crowbarred in a bunch of their stuff. And so when I got the final book, that was a bit of a shock, and I didn't get top credit, and a whole bunch of other issues. So that's a case of collaboration not going particularly well. Positive stories. So this other year when I was working on Whitechester, go and buy it. Almost immediately after the Kickstarter finished, and I'd broken ground on the final 2/3 of the book, I got deathly ill and nearly died. So the only way to get that book done in any kind of timely fashion was to reach out to other people to help me, which I didn't like doing, and I do feel compromised my vision somewhat, but it's still a kick-ass book, and that's an example of positive collaboration, because a bunch of people managed to come together and they either offered to work for free, or for a rate that I could afford, considering I couldn't really work at the time. And it's only through collaboration that book was finished remotely in time and put out to people. So that's all down to collaboration, and that's a positive, and it's a big positive to weigh against the negatives. But these days I very much prefer to work by myself and for myself, but I think circumstances being what they are, I think we're going to need more collaboration in future, especially between smaller publishers. So I will have to get over that, I think.